Hello adventurers and welcome back to my channel. Today is a disappointing day in van life. That's to say the least. Today I was in the Tucson area and I heard something go pop, and whenever I heard that, I just thought, oh no, something bad has happened. But it wasn't until I got to a Starbucks and kind of opened up my back door to get my laptop that I realized just how bad it was. So now we're going to get a look at it to see if it has held tight for the drive back to camp so that we can do a repair. Now, if you didn't see the other video, I'm talking about my shelf. My shelf fell, and it wasn't because it was installed poorly or anything like that. It was because the road has just bounced me around so much that somewhere along the line, one of the little support brackets just became faulty. So it is what it is, and we're gonna fix it, no problem. And Riley's gonna help me. She doesn't know it yet, but she's gonna help me. Okay, here we go. Let's see if it's bad. Okay, it's still intact. That's good. I pushed it back, but you can see it's just wobbling now, like full on wobbling. I do need to check to see if the bottom support is still intact. It is, so it's only the side one. So that's good. We have equipment to fix this. Now this is what broke right here. Do you see how this end just completely is sheared off? Well, believe it or not, it actually has a little piece that's still stuck to the wall and firmly secured. So this thing just over time, because it has moved so much, just completely fell to pieces. So what I'm going to do is, the rest of the bracket seems to be still good. I'm going to see if I can't bend it into place a little bit differently and secure this part, and then we'll just call it a day. But this does give me an opportunity to do a couple of other things that I need to do, like making sure nothing is behind the shelf and also making sure that everything is still intact. Now, when you have something that goes bad, the first thing you do is just freak out. I did that. I just went, oh no. And then I immediately called Riley and was like, hey, so number one, we wanted to office. It's not happening. I need to go back to camp to assess this. Number two, I'll be okay. I just hope that it doesn't tump over again. But that didn't take away from the initial panic. I think that a lot of times when people see the channel, they just think that I have it all together because I'm out on the road and I've been here for so long. I do not. Let me just state that. I do not have it all together. Sometimes things happen for me too, and this is one of them. The thing though that you have to understand is when things happen, you can either get somebody else to help you or you can do it yourself. But there's no crying in your post toasties about it. You just got to get it done if you want to be functional. So since I plan on not stopping traveling, and I'm still going to be on roads like this that are clearly not even, that means there is no luxury of me not doing this. I'm going to have to do it. And I have tools on the roof so that I can. So I'm going to share with you guys this journey. We're going to call it the journey of sadness because I'm super sad that this happened. But then we're going to call it the journey of triumph because we're going to triumph over this. We are, I think. No, actually we are. We're just going to do positive affirmations. I can do this. I can do this. I just don't know that I'm going to do it right this moment. Now, why am I not going to do it right this moment? Because I need to be strategic about how I do this. I need to make sure that if I secure this, that I'm not going to have it fall just really shortly thereafter. And I also want to make sure that whenever I do place the shelf, that it's in the correct place once again, because it did move. Now, whenever I first got out of the van, it had fully tipped over, and I knew that bottom support needed to be pushed back into place so that it wouldn't also become faulty. So I just pushed it into place and hoped for the best and crossed my fingers the whole way here. And it got me here. So I'm confident that I could sleep in the van tonight like this, but in the morning, I'm going to tackle this with a new set of eyes because I'm already pretty tired today. Now, a good tip to anyone who has a project on the road that you might think is super daunting is to not force the issue. Even if you know how to fix it, if you're losing light and you don't feel comfortable or confident that you can get it done, just wait. Wait until morning, look at it with a fresh set of eyes so that you can have your full attention on it and not mess something else up or not do something that you might not be as happy with later on just because you're trying to rush through it. Now, because we're about to lose all of the sun in this direction, I don't want to have to be doing this under the fairy lights, just twisting away on stuff, hoping for the best, crossing my fingers, and then when I hit the road again, hitting one bump and then everything goes flying. Yeah, so definitely going to do this in the morning. Now, with that said, a lot of you have asked me how I keep things in place so that they don't fall. Let me show you. Back into the van we go, and you'll notice that my shelf right here has all of these little bungees on it. Nothing that was on the shelves fell out as a result of what was like holding them in place here. So even though the bunny was almost out, it didn't completely fall. Now, on the other hand, whenever I hit that same bump though, my shower bag did fall and it was under my bed. But anything that should have fallen because this thing was literally leaned over like this, didn't. So there you go, guys. Bungee cords are your friends. Also, by waiting until morning, this will allow me to clean up my space a little bit because I have some laundry to put away. I have some other things that are just kind of there in the way of the workspace. So I'm going to do all of that this evening, and in the morning, we're going to tackle it, and we can do this. Woosah, woosah. I will not be upset that this happened. I will not be upset that this happened. Okay, deep breath. We're going to be okay. Remember, ladies, we can do it because we're I-N-D-E-P-E-N-D-E-N-T. Do you know what I mean, man? Okay, I probably lost you guys on that reference, but we're independent. We can do this. We are strong, confident, able-bodied people, and as long as we have tools, I think we can do it. Yeah. So this is going to be a project that I'm gonna stretch it out all night so that tomorrow, whenever I have to get in those tiny little places, I'll be fine. In the meantime, though, I think I have a plan. I think I have a really good plan, and I also think that I have some backup parts in addition to the tools. This is what we've been training for, guys. All this solo female empowerment travel, and now it's time for us to do a project actually on the road. Normally I do all my projects at base camp because it's just easier to be able to pull everything out. We don't have that luxury right now. So, on the road, we can do it. Also, I'm trying to hype myself up because I think I really need it right now because, obviously, this has been a kind of a stick in the mud kind of moment. Yeah, still feeling kind of like the hydrant. If you know, you know. Okay, I'm waking up and, I had a lot of time to think about what we're going to be doing today on this project. Oh, the good news is it didn't fall. And, I was able to wiggle it kind of into the place that I want it to, and now I think I just need to replace that one bolt. So that means I'm going to have to crawl up on the top, get my tools, ratchet it up, ratchet it down. That should fix it, I hope. In the meantime, just kind of taking in the breeze this morning. Feels kind of nice. In the meantime, I'm just kind of taking in this morning breeze and really trying to wake up. Slept super well last night. At the same time, I just really enjoy relaxing sometimes. So today, instead of getting stressed about the rush, I just decided I was just going to chill a little bit so that I could allow myself plenty of time on this project and not feel like I'm just like having to do it like immediately. So I'm getting to my wake up phase and then we're going to go to work. Okay guys, I went ahead and took down my trash bag and I have some breeze coming through here so it doesn't get too warm. I need to make sure the shelf is placed correctly, so I'm just going to kind of wiggle it into place. It looks like it's good. Now I need to figure out how to take this little thing off. Let's get a little closer. Okay, you can kind of see it in there. This is what I have to remove, and then I have to put this back on and scoot it over just a little bit. Okay, this is going to be a fun task. Now mentally, I am ready for this. Physically, I am still a little tired, and the wind is blowing today, so we're up against the odds on this one, but it's okay. After I finish this, I'm going to go through and reorganize my shelf just a little bit because, well, some things did get moved around even though they stayed on the shelf, so it's a little sloppy right now, but that's okay. But first, we have to find the correct tool, and I don't remember which one it was. Oh, no. Okay, so into the tool bag we go, and again, I need to do some cleaning in the van, so it is what it is. I need this, but I don't remember which one I need. I believe that it might be this guy, but it may also not be this guy. So we're just gonna kind of check if I can get it off of here. This set is super good, but also things get super stuck on here. Okay, I finally got it off. This is the one that I'm using. This is a 9/16, And I believe this is the one that I used previous. Now it's going to be a little harder for me to film this just because of where it is. It's like in here, but I'm going to try really hard to do it for you guys. Okay, so in a perfect world, I'm going to be able to place this in here and then grab onto it. I think I need to switch the side so we can reverse it off. And then we'll just slowly try to work it out. This may actually still be a little large, but it did loosen it, so that's good. I'm going to hold the plate so it doesn't fall behind the shelf. And almost. Okay, there's the piece that had broken right there. Here is the bolt. So this I'm going to dispose of correctly in a safe place, and then this I'm going to reuse now. The bolt was not the issue, it was actually the little metal piece, and as you can see, it just frayed from the movement. Whenever we retroed these for the shelf itself, the shelf was a little bit of an interesting angle, so they encourage you to use things like this to secure the shelf, and they've done so good. But I knew that I've been going over some pretty crazy roads, so you know, it is what it is. But now I'm going to reposition you guys so you can see what I'm doing, and hopefully, crossing our fingers, this will work. Okay, a little of an interesting angle here, but I'm going to start to bend this into place and see if I can secure the bolt into this bigger hole. Let's see, I'm just going to twist it in just a little bit, and then I'll show you what it looks like. It's a tight space to work, but this is what we're going with. And as we're doing that, I'm also going to push the shelf backwards just a little bit to make sure it is as snug as it can possibly be. After I get this twisted down a little bit more, we'll get the tool back out to really secure it. Okay, and now we need to flip this so we can actually adjust it on. And then I'll hold it in place and we'll start tightening, I think. It's not tightening great. I may need to twist it in by hand a bit more. Maybe not though, we'll see. Oh yeah, it's starting to grab now, I feel it. It's getting a lot closer there. So I'm just gonna continue with this, and pretty soon we should be able to take a look at it and do a little shake test. Ooh, we got a lot of tightening to do still, but this angle is very interesting, as you can see. Now, whenever I put this in, I didn't have anything in my van. It was completely cleared out. So I knew that I needed to make this where I could access it still. So I made sure that I left it kind of offset from that rib so it'd be easier to get in with the tool. That's the main reason that it does not line up directly with the ribs, because I kind of knew that we might have to eventually one day do this. I was hoping we wouldn't, but that's why we also carry the tools. In the meantime, I'm going to keep going, and we're getting pretty close. It's getting pretty tight, and I think that after we get it just a little bit tighter, we should be good to go. So as you can see, it's not, I mean, it shakes a tiny bit, but it did before, not like in a bad way. This is just so that it has a little flexibility whenever it does move. That's what they recommended. But all in all, notice, nothing is flying off, and I'm shaking it pretty aggressively now. Now, something else I might do in the future after I go back to base camp and I have access to like drills and things like that, I may put an additional stabilizing bracket on the bottom on this side. There's one on the other side, and I really like that it's down kind of under the rug, so it's out of the way, but also gives me a little bit of extra security. But as of right now, I have the really good one on top, I have one on the bottom, and then I have something behind that kind of holds it in place also a little bit better whenever it is snug. So yeah, I think we're done for now, I think, but I'm going to do a little bit more like shake testing just to make sure I don't end up with it tipping over again, and also organize just a little bit because some of these things need to move around a little bit. Now, I will say this, one of the sad casualties of this incident was my headlamp, so I'm going to have to replace my headlamp because whenever the shelf came firing backwards, it popped the headlamp off and also broke it. So just going to throw this away, and the next time that I get to a store, I'll pick a new one up. I do use that pretty frequently, so I definitely need one. I have this little guy that kind of is right behind. You kind of saw some things draping. This is my fire beater. I keep it for starting campfires. I absolutely love this. There's a place where I can use it to break out my window if I have to. There's a starter here, and also it's a nice little clippable thing. So I keep it where I can easily access it. And then of course I have my Nomad News Press Pass. So all these things need to be right in this area, and they seem to have fared pretty well considering. But let me show you what else made it through the fall without incident. I'm really surprised. So my camera was not up here. It was actually laying on the bed, but everything else on this shelf was here. And notice that it's kind of in a certain place so that nothing moves while I'm driving. So even when the shelf fell, nothing fell with it. I have a whole power station up here that I use really frequently. This is the Blue Eddy. The Blue Eddy had tumbled over with the shelf. It is fine. All of these little power stations that I use for my lights were all just kind of in their special place. Again, everything has a place, and it's a snug place so that when I'm driving, nothing pops out. All of these were still here. The only difference was one was like kind of dangling a little bit. So all in all, it did very well. The cords that I have here for all the things that I use the Blue Eddy all remained in place. I also have right here beside this is my projector, which I'm going to show you guys very soon. It was fine. I checked it out. Nothing is broken. It seems as though everything on the top shelf did great. Now on the second shelf, that's where I keep my sunglasses, and some of them did fall because they're a little bit more loosely put into the shelf. So even though it did keep the vast majority of everything on that shelf from falling, I lost like a couple of pairs of sunglasses, and it kind of tossed some things around. So I'm really going to put a lot of focus on fixing that section. Otherwise, my clothes are below that. They were good. The bottom shelf has a lot of utilitarian things. None of that moved. So all in all, even though this was a slight disaster, it wasn't near as bad as it could have been. And I'm so relieved because when I came to the back of the van and the shelf was tipped over and my natural reaction was just, oh my gosh, fix it immediately, I was really worried. I was super worried. It wasn't until I got to camp and was able to really address everything that I realized that, you know, we didn't do as badly as I thought. And that is a positive for the way that I have my van set up. With the narrow aisle, it was able to safely rest on my bed. And because of that, it didn't cause a lot of chaos, which is very nice. So all in all, am I proud of my build? Absolutely. I am super excited that it is standing up to the test of time. And even though something did, in fact, break just a little bit, it wasn't detrimental to the entirety of the space. And I consider that a huge, huge win. Hey, Riley.
Yeah.
While you were in your car for just a few minutes, I fixed my shelf.
That's awesome.
I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it, but I totally did it.
Yeah, I just can't believe like that it was actually a pretty easy fix and nothing fell out.
I know. This shelf made my life so much easier. And this is just a standard cargo shelf for my particular van, so that's pretty cool too. But yeah, I just need to do a little bit of straightening, and then I think I'm ready to go to our next adventure.
Yay!
Okay, so I'm showing you guys, this is not the most even of roads, and before I kept hearing this loud thud behind me, but it seems to be doing okay now with the shelf. We're not having that popping back and forth sound, so I'm hoping this fixed it for a while at least. Again, I may go in and do some reinforcing once I do go back to base camp eventually, but as of right now, it's super good. So pretty pleased. I'm really happy that we were able to accomplish this with a little bit less struggle than I thought we would realistically. And I did have another little bright moment of happiness. After I went through and I really looked at my headlamp, I was able to piece it back together. So at least for the time being, I have a really good headlamp. Probably will still have to replace it because it did kind of mess it up a little bit, but for now I can still use it at least around camp. And I'm not gonna be doing a whole lot of like head banging around, so it should be fine. But as we're pulling out of camp and everything seems to be better and the world has been set right in van life, I'm ready to get on to our next adventures. Remember guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time, and sometimes that good time can be impeded by a few bad things along the way, but it's how we overcome them that matters. Not letting ourselves get overwhelmed, overstressed, or fall victim to the I can't do this. Instead, just rolling up our sleeves, getting down to work, maybe resting just a little bit to come at it with a fresh mind, but at the end of the day, fixing it ourselves. Till next time guys, bye!